regardless, but it may be. So let me do something here. Let me go and check the stream, see what the stream looks like. Make sure the quality is doing well. It says I'm live. You know, kids can't keep quiet for anything, regardless, but it may be. So let me do something here. Let me go and check the stream. Okay, so here we go. So anyway, let's get this party started. Again, I do apologize for the technical difficulties. You know, I have sent the link out before. Let me get this light up here. I have sent the link out, and you know, everything is working beautifully. Then everything decided, the program decided to crash. So anyway, I'm not going to keep everybody waiting. Like I said before, this is something that there was a technical difficulty. Wasn't foreseen, but even if it wasn't foreseen, it happens. So pretty much, my name is Ethereal Author, and pretty much I am back with you with another video for map design. And this video, I am going to do a parchment map. Now this map here, I have like copied it from the previous map I did in my video of a landmass. Basically showing you the basics, like how to pretty much how to turn this over. But what that was the initial plan. But I do feel like it is best to just start from scratch. So this is what I'm going to do for those who just joined in on the video. So what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to start a new map. Now, before I begin anything else, anything else, is that I am on a website called incarnate.com. This is the website I use to design my map for my book series, the Dark ICHALOCHA TERRES book series. You can check it out in the links below. Also, pretty much I've been playing around with it for like almost a year. I'm still a novice at it, but it's a lot of fun to just play around and create your own world. Especially if you are a book artist or a fantasy writer. And I think this is very best for a good tool to use online if you are trying to create a world yourself. Now, before I begin, I say like this, I have created my world after I started writing, but I find it best to create your world before you start writing it, before writing a series. That's just my opinion, because that way, you can get a visual idea of what your world would look like. As far as like you can start naming this. First of all, you can name the realm or the world that you have. You can also put down the cities, the landmass, so forth, and basically just start building up the idea like what this world is going to be like, what the characters are like, what territories and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start another map. It's going to ask me to save it. I'm not going to save this one. And also, I do have another disclaimer. I do have sinuses. Living in a southern state. So I will be blowing my nose quite often. So I do like to get that out the way. So let's start with building a new map. So let's go to return the maps. Also, you're going to see the maps I have done before. Matter of fact, before I get started, I want to show you a map design is not an easy thing to do, because the fact is, like, when I first started my maps, like all the stuff was going through my mind. I showed this before in my last videos, but I want to show it to you again. As far as like, I was not, this is like my actual first map I did, and it's not the greatest map, of all, And pretty much it's okay if you mess up, especially if you're a novice, or if you just start. But if you're a neophyte in drawing maps or doing maps, because the fact is, I'm still consider myself a neophyte, even though I've been doing the. I'm also looking at over here as well for the Beagle. So Beagle, just make sure the Beagle broadcast doing good. But yeah, so pretty much what I'm trying to do is that to show you that being a neophyte, you're going to mess up. Even the current map I have right now, I said I could do better, you know, and that will be happening later in the book series, the Dark ICHALOCHA book series. I will be designing another realm because I am going to other realms with the book series. But pretty much this is like a map, you know, is really like ugly, and not only that, it's very congested. You know, I should have, you know, there's like rooms for improvement, stuff like that. You know, I would most definitely would have to go back and pretty much redesign from scratch if I ever decide to pick this map up again. This is from my other book series called Sierra Alpha Prime, which is also available on WATTPAD. You know, you can check that out as well. So, and that book series is free. So, but yeah, this is just one of the many maps I did. You know, is very congested, very, you know, ugly. You know, these are the other maps you can see down here. I'm not gonna click all of them, but you know, I will go through a run list. You know, and I'll say by the time I got to the middle part, I started thinking bigger and better. You know, with the maps and stuff like that. Until I came up with the final piece here. This is like the final maps, but this is actually the final map here. You know. So yeah, you know. So like I said before, you most definitely want to think big when you designing maps, because the fact is like um, a world or a planet is not a small place. You know, even with, like for example, like I give you an example, like I have done some research on the map of Mars, and actually Mars is like, you know, looking at the map is kind of frightening because, you know, I'm talking about a NASA map. You know, looking at that map is kind of like frightening because the fact is, like, you know, it's very big. You know, and you know, yeah. Anyway, so let's get started. Let's create a new map, right? So I've been through this before. You know, pretty much like you most definitely have a choice of choosing the type of maps that you want, you know, that will give you. You know, so pretty much you have a fantasy battle map. This is more like for like larger areas, like a city or something like that. Also, it's also like a strategic map. You know, if you're doing game design, RPG design, which is very good. You know, pretty nice. Of course, you got watercolor cities, which is also more like it's more like but when the person design is more like a city map. You know, you got more battle maps here, and then I guess it's like beta, you have beta access. So this is probably, you know, they got some more stuff that's going on here or you're designing, but you can most definitely, like, you know, do floor plans. You know, you of course you got the regional HD, which is 3D, which I have used. And, you know, as far as, like, you know, designing world maps, like, you know, if you're doing the color. Now, one thing I would do is this, like, I would never. I think it would be my last time doing actual world maps in this format, because it just so much detail. It just details within the assets in the website, that it just takes away from the land mass itself. So I would most definitely there's two maps, you know, you can most definitely use. You can use the Parchment map or the fantasy map. I have used the fantasy map in the last video, but I'm going with the Parchment because basically, like, you know, I pretty much like maps that's very like rustic, like, you know, 1600s, you know, and, you know, pretty much, like, you know, it gives that more of an adventure feel, you know. And plus, like, it doesn't really take away from your design, you know, what you're trying to do. But I'm not gonna go big like this, like I did before. I mean, I could, but pretty much I'm gonna go small as possible. And I'm not gonna create a lot of land maps like I did in my other videos. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a custom map. You know, I'm gonna do let's do 80 by 80. Let me see, 80 by, no, let's do 80 by 60. Let's see how that works. Or 85. Column 85. Let me see. How about 11? How about 110 by 85? Let's see how that works. Create map. So now what this is going to do now is going to generate a map for you, like, you know, of a landmass, like it normally does. Like, well, it didn't do it this time, but let me show you. Normally, when maps does, like, you know, if you have a random generated map, you can do that. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like sometimes, like you can choose a style, right, and it gives you an option as well. Like say, you know, you want to skip all the, if you want to skip all the, you know, design and landmass yourself, you go choose a style, and then what it can do is, I know back in the day it has a, you can choose landscape or you can do custom. Now, if you do a landscape, this will design the map for you, or any one of those if you don't choose custom. I forgot to mention that before, and it did not do it this time. So let's see what's going on here. I mean, unless they took that feature out, because like I know a year ago, they would allow you to, it would allow you to, you know, it would allow you to have the AI to design a landmass for you. Let's see if I can get that happening, you know, because it normally it would have done that. Let me see. Let me see if I double click on it. Let me see. Let's try this one here. Choose style. Now, if it doesn't do it this time, that means like, you know, maybe the website has went in and changed some features. But normally, like last year, it'll design a landmass for you. So, but I don't know what's going on here now. So let's see what happens. But if it doesn't do it, that's fine. You know, yeah, I'm not too mad with that. But so anyway, it did not do it. But let's get started anyway. So pretty much like, you know, designing a Parchment map, like I like to keep between a color scale, you know, a type of color scale. Pretty much I want to go more with the like a worn scroll type scale, and I'm gonna make this one big country too. There's not gonna be anything else. I mean, maybe two countries. I'm not quite sure. Let's see what happens. But one thing I want to do is this. I don't like the color here. You know, it is not that rustic for me. So I'm going to choose a background, and I'm going to go to, well, actually, I'm going to see, go to background here, and I'm going to go to open catalog, see if I can find any Parchment colors, you know. So say if I want this right here, I want a stain map, so I'll go ahead and just change everything around to give it a nice rustic feel. Now you don't have to do it this way, you know. And sometimes like you can also leave out the you know, sometimes you can also do this, like you can make it darker if you want to, because like a lot of times, like, you know, in order to like for example, like, you know, if you want your landmass to stand out, you most definitely want to go dark with the waters and stuff like that. So let's do that. See if they got any like darker textures or something like that. If not, you can always create that dark texture by pretty much like, you know, like creating or changing the opacity of the map itself, or of the background stamp. So let's try this real quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around here, change the opacity, and maybe I can cover it up a little bit. You'll see how, just give it a darker tone to it. Yeah, that's not dark enough. And matter of fact, I do want to go, I want to stick to the color, a color, maybe this right here. Because like I said, maybe you know, maybe I always like to build up from a map from like the sea and stuff like that. And I guess it's still not showing. See what's going on here. Also, it also could be I'm probably having problems with the map itself, is because the fact that I have chosen a higher definition to design the map. So you want to be careful with that, not to if you don't have a RAM space on your computer. Excuse me, I just hit the microphone. If you don't have enough RAM space on your computer, you may want to not do that. You know. But the reason why I always choose high definition, because the fact is I always want to you know, it's like when I push the map out, you know, as far as like export it, you know, to a JPEG, you know, you'd be able to see every detail of that map, you know. So yeah, so pretty much this is dark for me. So I'm gonna go back to light here. I'm gonna use this parchment here. Maybe I'll choose a lighter one because, like I said, I really wanted to stand out. This seems like this is pretty good. And I'm going to choose the foreground to create the map. And I always choose this shape edge, you know, give it, you know, for rough textures and stuff like that. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so right now I kind of got a lag going on here. Let me see what's going on here. And I do apologize, YouTube. I'm trying to stream on, on Beagle as well. I think the CPU is not really handling it. So, okay, there we go. I think it popped back in for you. Okay, so I am kind of having difficulty here that the map is not moving. So let me do this. Let me turn the pixels back up. Maybe that's not the problem. Yeah. So I am having problems that it's not. Oh, you know, I'm kind of crazy. You know what? There's this little tool, the shovel tool. I did not click that. Make sure you click on the shovel tool. Like I said, I'm still a novice at that. So click on the shovel tool, and you know you can be able to design your landmass like this. You know, now I'm not really worried about the landmass. I'm not really worried about the landmass right now, how it looks. Right now, I just want to create it. You know, just get it going. Cause like what I always plan on doing is like, you know, I go in, I always go in, create the landmass first, then go in and reshape it. You know. And you're gonna do that quite often, you know, as far as like go back in and redo things, you know. So let's say this is like, you know, let's say it's a little nation right here. Or this is a small nation of world right here. You never know. Now I know for a fact it looks kind of different right now. I'm going to fix that. You know, I kind of messed up because like I have not chosen the right tool, but we'll get to that in a minute. Matter of fact, let's get to it right now. So let's go ahead and color the foreground in real quick. Let's go back. Okay. Let's get out of here. So pretty much I'm gonna just go over the foreground, make sure everything's one color. Let's choose a. Next time I'm going to choose a smaller map. I know it's kind of like, you know, jippy right now. You know. So yeah. So let's do one more. Now let's create some more landmass. You know, because like I said, I can see there's a lot of things going on here. I want to create one giant landmass for now, except with this little island, because I want to stick out there. So I'm going to hit it up. I'm going to change the roughness too. I'm going to turn on the roughness, see how it works out. Actually, I want a little bit more roughness. There we go. All right. Now, like I said, you know, this is not going to be the prettiest map, but that's okay. You ain't got to really worry about it being pretty. Just, you know, it's like this. There's no such thing as a perfect world. You know, the world that that you create, it has been formed by years of geological. Of course, we know that if you learn it in third grade, second, third grade, that the world has been formed through geological disasters. You know, even interplanetary. You know, planets colliding within each other. Of course, the tectonic planet shift. Also, you have meteorites hitting Earth, asteroids. You know, that can also cause it to, you know, cause it to form a landmass. So, so pretty much what I'm doing here is like I'm just basically just taking away some things here. Like I said, I'm not really too scared to just play around, play around with it, because a lot of times you're going to get a landmass that's not perfect. Yeah, say this is like a very big world. A very 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 big world, and that's another reason why I have chosen to make it big, because the fact that you're going to, I mean, for example, like using HD, especially 8K. 8K is going to give it as much detail as possible. Okay, what is going on here? Let's see if I want to make this like a chain of islands. I don't know. I always like to have archipelagos here. I think I did that too much. I can go back and do that later. I'm not really gonna spend too much time. I really just want to show you the assets of creating a parchment map. So I mean, it just, like I said, like this is just a demonstration of what you can do. It's not like it's absolute. Let's say you want to give it some more space up here. Like you always want to do a lot of spacing out with your land mass. All depends on how big your world is. Maybe we could have a little bay right here, a little inlet. Also, maybe we could have a little inlet now. Well, you know, like I said, it's totally how you want to do it. Now, next thing what I want to do is this, like I have done it before, is to add trees. Now, one thing I like about this partial map, like you can add color to this, and I think it's a wonderful thing to add a little bit of color to the partial map. I mean, it's not a traditional way of doing things, as far as creating partial maps, but it seems like the color sticks out more. You can tell what's going on. I'll give you an example. So, then we go grab an asset, right? And one thing I do love these assets too, right? Pretty much like you could do this here, and it just gives a nice, maybe it has a nice little mountain range. You never know. It's totally up to you how you want to do things, but we'll get rid of that. But pretty much I want to show you some assets real quick. Matter of fact, I want to show you a color. I want to show you a color version of the mountains to show you what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find some real quick. Now, I say don't really use it if you don't have a good eye. A good eye color coordination. I really have stopped doing color maps because my eyes have gotten better over the years. Due to getting older. I mean, it's going to happen. It happened to me. But here's what I was talking about. Some of the color models, like if you are really skilled with doing if you are really skilled doing color if you are really skilled into seeing you know you can still add color to it, and I really like how the contrast, how things sticks out and stuff like that. You know, um, and like I said, it's totally up to you how you want to do things. But I'm most definitely going to design for stuff that's going to maybe like I want some higher maps because like this is gonna be my cold regions up here. You know, I always like to do it that way. Or if you like if you like a an inverted person, you can have your mountains down here, whatever. But I don't mix the smaller mountains, and that means I don't have to get in a little bit bigger because pretty much like you always want to you want to get as to get detailed as possible with your maps, and by doing that, you have to go in like go do some microscopic stuff, And also, I'm going to turn down the size of his. Say like this is a mountain range, you never know. And like I said, don't be afraid to just don't be afraid to like mess up. Like I said, I'm making countless mistakes here, but the thing is, I'm having fun at it. Let's get out of here real quick. So maybe say I want to smack a big mountain here. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on with this. Say I want to smack a big mountain range here. And then I want to add some smaller mountains. And they have bigger mountains than these, so. But it's also like the size that you want it. So I'm gonna create a smaller mountain range so I can be able to, you know, just don't overpower your map as well. Also, we want to make sure these are dark enough. So let's go in and fill in the opacity a little bit. Now it's okay if you want to go light. If you don't want to draw too much attention. Like this is like one of the Parchment maps. Like you can do. Like you can always mix it up with 3D and stuff like that, and you can always add like cities. One thing I like to do is this before I do anything else. I do want to add a couple of lakes and stuff like that. But right now I'm just going to add the landmass. Maybe a couple of mountain ranges. Around here. Like and also I want to use the color to determine the regions, like the regions of the map and stuff like that. Say like the colder regions, like it's pretty much has like bluish hue mountains and stuff like that, or ice covered mountains. Maybe this is like a smaller mountain range. Just play around with it. I mean there's no there's no there's no wrong way of doing things. Let's add some frost mountains up here too, because like I said, maybe this is like a very rugged area. Now we don't want to add too much mountains. We just want to add something just to get it going. Let's try. Let's see what's this. We got some. Like you can place anywhere you want. And say like I don't know, maybe it's kind of like getting kind of let's say like the terrain is starting to change, whatever. I don't like that. This pretty much looks out of place. But we will leave it as it is right now. Let's add some trees. Well, first of all, let's add some rivers first and some lakes. You always want to start off adding those things. So we're gonna do a little taking away. I'm just gonna hit it with a one button hit, so I can drop in the lake. Maybe I'm dropping it right here. Maybe that's a lake. We don't know, but I don't like the shape of that lake because lakes are not always perfect round. So we're gonna have to create that lake ourselves. And plus, I want it a little bit more rugged looking. So I'm going to change the size down a bit, and I'm gonna push up the roughness. Take out smooth. You see what it does? See that? You see how perfect it looks kind of artificial, way it forms. So we're going to turn back on the smoothness. right here, turn it back on the smoothness, and we're gonna turn on the roughness, and we're gonna form it ourselves. See that? That's a nice lake. All right, so let's add some rivers now. Pretty much like as I said before, like uh, other videos have stated that there are not really there's not really much um, about especially how lakes are formed. Like some lakes do enter into the ocean, but there are some. Most of the time, lakes do not. Now that's what I done my research on the internet, especially on YouTube. From a cartographer, it said most lakes do not transverse off the landmass. Now it's kind of weird that if you're doing a delta, say we got a little river mountain pass here, we can do a little river here. And say we want to bring this down a bit and move it. Make sure we want to make sure this thing is connecting. I don't know why I did not connect. Yeah. Also, you can have a small. You guys, like I said, the world don't have just one river. You can add more rivers. Just in case. Because you don't want to have a continual line going through a continent, and it just looks kind of freaking weird. But the thing is, I would add some more mountains, because the the map right here does kind of look kind of plain. So we're going to do this. We're going to I'm going to do another river, and I'm going to do one maybe a river and a lake over here, maybe like a small lake. There you go. And I'm going to go do a and remember, your rivers are not perfect. Your river's gonna be have squiggly lines. So as you see here. Now, also, somebody pretty much in the videos too, I also want to keep these inlands and stuff like that, because pretty much when I was watching YouTube about map design, they said you also want to be mindful of making sure you have bodies of water. That you keep the cities near bodies of water, because that's how normally civilization starts, like near bodies of water. So we're going to do that. For example, say if I want to create a little inlet, so like a bay right here, you can create a little bay. Like I said, with this map, I'm going to do a lot of adding and taking away. I'm not going to focus on the whole area, but I'm just going to focus on a few things here. Now, here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add some trees. Not too much, but I do want to add enough. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to make the trees colorful. I might not, depending on how it'll turn out. So let me see, trees. Now, normally I would use this type of tree to give it color, but I'm afraid it's going to take away the map. So there's another type of tree that you can use. It's a parchment tree, and I most definitely would use these right here, because it's not going to take too much. It's not going to take a lot away from the map. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and I'm going to increase the size of that. Just enough. Now, pretty much normally I will cover the whole continent with trees, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do little areas here and there. Give it a cluster or whatever, I don't know. I also want to do this. I want to take down the opacity as well, because I don't want to overdo it. So let's take down the pixel just a tad bit, because like you don't want your map to be overpowered, with dark lines. And there's nothing wrong with dark lines, but you can still get a good amount of detail here. Like maybe this whole region here, and like you have a couple of bare regions up north. Who knows? Now I'm going to maybe cover. I'm not going to do a lot of trees as far as with up here, because I do want to leave some areas. I may do like smaller group of trees just to make sure the map is not too dry or too boring. But I do want to keep some of the land mass free. Less can always be more. So we could just remember that. And again, like I'm not going to really worry about going overboard at the moment, because like I said, I can always go back in. I can always go back in and I can always go back in and just take things out. Like for example, say if I want to put a city right here, I can always go back in there and just like knock it out. I mean, there's times you're gonna overdo things, and like I said, it's not permanent. Okay, so say like I'm gonna do a little sprinkling down here, but I am gonna divide the land up a little bit. I'm gonna add some a mixture of trees. I'm just basically just doing stuff at random right now. Because I want to add another asset of trees in here, which is gonna be more of this type. Because like a lot of times it like as the terrain changes, like you're gonna have like different. It's basically like yeah, you got to think of the landscape like colors, like gradient colors, like that things would change and stuff like that. Like maybe this like the forest lands or the woodlands, stuff like that. Down here it could be the plains, the lower the plains and stuff like that. Just one of those things you just have to think about. Like I said, and this is what I'm talking about. I have made a mistake here. I'm gonna go back in, delete that, and I think I'm gonna add a small, maybe a small mountain range. I'm not quite sure, but I do want to add. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's add some rock structures here, or rock formations. And the great thing about this website, it allows you to do that. So let's look at mountains again. I'm just gonna spell that wrong. Mountains, right? Upload. Also, one thing I have mentioned before in my last videos that you can upload your own assets. So like I can't spell from save my life. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is not what I want. Let's try plateaus. Am I spelling that right? You know what? Let's do it the long way around. Sometimes, like trying to look for things it can be crazy. So let's do this. Let's go universal. Let's get rid of that first. There we go. Okay, so they do have a rock formation I want to get. Something like this called mesas. So I want to do, maybe like the lower region, I build a mesa and a plateau. You know, like maybe give it a little bit more. Give it a little bit more rugged terrain down here. Now, one thing about mesas and stuff like that, it really doesn't have any color. So like it can look kind of odd. So you may want to take out the. You can do two things. You can take away the color of the saturation of the mountains that you have right now, or you can use the other earlier assets I have shown you before. So maybe we can just take this out. So we can throw a couple of messes down here. Again, don't be afraid to mess up. You know what I mean? I know I keep saying that, but a lot of times people want things to be perfect, and like a lot of times things are not perfect. Again, the world is not a perfect place. You know. And say this is like a warmer region or something like that. Also, you can make places out of you can build places as well, as far as like say this could be a city inside here. I did that for a reason. As a matter of fact, there could be cities inside of the messes. Let's add a waterfall. That might be. Let's do this. I just got an idea. So remember I said like a lot of times you can erase stuff. I want to add the I want to put the river inside here, and I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to have a river run right through it. And the reason why I do this because you do have these small these basins. You have mountains and stuff like that. And also, the reason why I did it because I want to add a waterfall. So let's do that real quick. Open catalog, and it does have a waterfall. Now, the thing about the waterfall is that waterfall is in color, but we could change that. Change the color. Okay. Let's try something different because it's like I don't know why it's not reading, but let's try. Let's do universal. See if it give us everything. If not, let's see fantasy world. Now, the only thing I say, one thing I really don't like about stuff like this is that pretty much with the assets stuff like that is like it can be hard to even though it has a vast library of assets that you can use for your map, it can be a little annoying to try to like sift through everything. And also again it's like my pretty much my hard drive is kind of like trying to think real quick because the fact is that I do this is at a higher rate, a higher frame rate as far as like with the resolution. I am doing this at 8K resolution right now. So I'm basically trying to find a waterfall for you guys. There we go. Okay, so now again, now this waterfall is in color, which is fine, because I'm about to show you what I'm about to do it real quick. Now you can change the color of it. Okay, I'm going to add something. I'm going to give this map a little bit more detail real quick. But first, let me do this. Let me change the color. There's things you can do to give it an effect. Um, and I'm gonna show you real quick what I'm talking about. So let's do this. Let's change the contrast. See what we can do. Okay, so pretty much just the contrast, which is not pretty good. So let's see. I like to slide this up and down a bit to see what I can get from it. So pretty much, the waterfall changes color, but the problem is like it looks. Well, I mean that's decent because like I said, this is gonna be a black and white parchment map anyway. So okay, now say if you want to cape, so where's the water coming from, right? You gotta make it make sense. I like to make it make sense. So they do have these have assets like I can use a city. Let me see. Let me open map. So let's do Parchment City, right? Because they do have. I want to show you something real quick. You can use assets and making different artwork as well. I don't know why I keep doing that. Okay. So let's go to Parchment. Okay, so pretty much like I said, here's your assets right here. Also, this is a waterfall as well, like landmarks. You can use this as a waterfall. You know, um, caves, right? So this is what I want to show you. So say like, where's your waterfall coming from, right? You can always drop a cave in there. And there's your and maybe you have like a city or something like that, or a hidden spot. And let's get rid of this lake here. Maybe I add some hills over here, but you have a very heavy forest area and stuff like that. I'm going to add some more. Matter of fact, let's add some hills. Let's make the rest hills. Open assets, and let's find some hills. Actually, let's do this. Let's throw some clips in first. You never know what happens. But now and also you do not want to just throw random clips in anything like that. You really most definitely want to think about it. Now the reason why I'm throwing clips on the mess is because like especially like in Arizona, um, if I'm wrong, forgive me, but from what I have observed from the maps of Arizona, matter of fact, let me just leave it alone. But what I have observed from maps of Arizona, that there are cliffs, messes on top of cliffs. And I'm going to turn down the pasty here, not too much here. All right, I'm going to add some more messes down here real quick, and I think I'm going to, in addition to that, I'm going to take away the saturation. Let's do this first, so I won't forget. And let's see. Oh crap. Okay. I do hope the stream is going well. I mean, I really am trying to make sure that that you have an experience. I have been diligent trying to. There you go. This is what I was talking about. You always turn this white. And you will take down the what's name. But as I was saying, I do apologize for if you're not able to see this. I don't know what's going on with the string. Like I said, I had everything working perfectly, and it seemed like everything just went crazy after somewhat. Now you can always do this. Like for example, like if you really want to, because I feel like I feel like this is going to take away. Is going to take away from the site, so I'm going to replace this with a different type of mountain here. Again, it's okay to mess up, you know. Now here's the thing about, like, you don't have to add a string of mountains here, but you can, like, you know, for example, like, you can do this. You know, you can do some layering, you know, and basically, like, you know, it still gives that 3D effect, you know. All right, so let's clear this up. Maybe we're gonna add some hills, maybe a couple of cities. I'm gonna add a little bit more trees a little bit later in my next video. So we're gonna get rid of this real quick. You know, let's do this. Maybe the river. You know, I don't know. Maybe the river connects someplace else. Not quite sure. But let's do this real quick. I'll give you 1 second. You know. Give me 1 second. Make sure. Let me see. Make sure the stream is still on. Yep, stream's still happening. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna do what I did before. I'm gonna form a river, and I'm gonna break the river up. You know, because rivers do break up to different directions. So I'm gonna squiggle it out here. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I screwed up. Maybe one breaks down south, and maybe one. Oh, let's get that lower a little bit. We're gonna lower. We're gonna make it smaller. You know, you don't want things to be too big. You know. Maybe we have a direction going up a bit, and maybe it branches off right here, and then maybe the river splits down here as well. It does that, you know. All right, let's add some hills over here, you know, and maybe some hills up here. You know, maybe this is like higher terrain. Now, I might do it. I'm thinking about doing a marathon stream. Not quite sure. We see how things go. All right, here we got hills, right? So let's add some hills here. You know, we got big hills, small hills. I'm gonna bring it down a bit. You know, like I said, you want to have diversity with your map. You know. Maybe this is something like, you know, some plains here. You never know. Now I am being very careful to not touch the bottom here because you know, who knows? Maybe this is like a sandy region. You know. But again, if you're doing a fantasy map, who says this has to be a sandy region? You know, maybe this could be a grassland, like, you know, for example, mesas normally form, you know, in desert areas. But who knows, on another planet you could have mesas on top, you know, You can have messes that has like less vegetation, you know, plateaus, you know. Like I said, there's no wrong way of designing your map, you know. I mean, yeah, you want to try to, you know, do it reasonably how you want to do it reasonably, you know, as you know how geologists or what would they call it, you know, environmentalists would say how trees or how the environment forms and why it forms that way. But in a way, like, you know, who knows on another planet, you know, it could be different. You never know. Or another realm. Like I said, it's totally up to you. Like, you know, especially doing fantasy maps, like, you know, you are the creator of your own world, and things do not have to be as people say it, you know. I'm gonna turn on the saturation real big, you know, I mean the color. I just want to add a little bit more. Now, like I said, you know I said in the last video with the other map I was going to do some taking away, but so maybe with this map I would do that. Just right now, I'm just trying to, I'm just filling it in right now. Throw a couple trees down here, you know. All right. See that? Now let's do some quick things. Let's do some quick stuff real quick. Now let's add a couple of cities here. You know. Now remember I said before, like, you know, normally cities will form near water or around a body of water. So I'm gonna add like 3 cities. I'm not gonna name them yet. There, I'm gonna put a little city here. Maybe I'm not quite sure. You know, call it Mesa City. I don't know. So pretty much I'm gonna go back to the assets. You know, I'm gonna open catalog here. And so pretty much like, you know, this is the catalog, you know, or the assets you can use to put to drop your city. You know, they have different ones. You know, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to use a dot. They normally have like small dots or something like that. Now these are supposed to be meant for use for something else, but like I said, you can use it for however you want to use it. Let me see. Let me check it out real quick. So, so normally, you know, you can put a dot there. You can put, you know, a plane for human icons. You know, you can do that. Um, you know, you also use you can also use symbols too as well. Like, you know, as like what they call it? What they call it? Coat of arms, I guess. You can use that as well to determine, like, you know, a nation, a kingdom, you know. But right now I just want to add basic human city. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm going to use these icons here. You know, just to drop it off, like, you know. Say like, you know, there's a city right there. You don't know, never know. Also, you can drop it. You know, this kind of big, but that's cool. Also, you can drop a city here. Again, I do apologize for the background. You know, it's all about where you want to drop it at. You know, like I said, most cities will be near water. You know, you could throw a city right here. Do I have the? I'm sorry. Do I have the icon here? You can drop a city right here. Doesn't matter. You know, it's still near water, or, you know, there's gonna be a city, maybe a couple of cities around lakes. You know, like I said, you know, you're going to you most definitely gonna put like cities around where water exists. But then again, there are cities that doesn't, you know, that could be in the middle of the desert, like an oasis. Well, again, that's water. But some cities can be right near, you know, near a forest. You know, can be dropped dead in the forest. That's the reason why I took some of that away. Because like I said before, maybe I want to drop the city somewhere in there. Never know. Now I'm not really thinking about too much about this map at the moment because, like I said, this is just something to get started. But say if I want to drop a city here, I'm gonna duplicate that real quick, move this over, do another city. Maybe I can move it up north. Not quite sure. And this is just the basic things you can do to add stuff. Now, say if say like you have a city. Say that you have a city, right? But a city wants to have a kingdom. So say if you could leave a city there. You could put a I don't know. Maybe you could put a castle or something like that. Say if it's like royalty live there. Also, this thing with Papa is saying, you see, you made a lot of changes. I made 225 changes. You do want to save that. So once I add the castle in, I know it's kind of a bad idea to keep going and not save it. But you most definitely want to save your work. After making a lot of changes. So let's say I was gonna put a city like I was gonna put a icon there, maybe like a castle or whatever. Like for example, this is pretty good. Like say like this is like this could be like a little river town or something like that. And I know I have a couple of here, but say this is like a major area, or say this is a castle. Let's do this. Let's put a castle right there. I mean, there's so much things that they have, you can use. Even though it says Elvin, I'm gonna put a castle there anyway. Say this is like a small little land, little castle here. And again, I put the castle near water. Also, what I forgot to do is this: I am gonna divide the lands up and the borders up because, like I said before, like there's just more to it. Basically like pretty much just have an open land. You do have to have your nations and your borders. That's one thing you want to keep in mind. Make sure you have your nations and borders together. I haven't thought about that yet. Like I said, that's something I will think about later. If I wanted to. You know. But before, also, I like to advise, before you do map design, I do encourage you to do some research. I have done a lot of research with fantasy maps like Final Fantasy, also like a lot of RPG games. Again, Final Fantasy. Also, Legacy of Kain, the very first game has a very nice map. My opinion. And pretty much, I am kind of like basing the map off of this one. Now, like I said before, I may make this smaller because maybe there's like different nations across the water, across the lakes. I'm going to add that division line later. But maybe let's save it real quick. So, always gotta name your map. So let's name it. I just name it practice map. Because based on right now, I'm just practicing my skills with the map. And as you can see, the world is still a bigger place, but like I said before, I do want to divide. I do want to divide these nations up, so you can have, like variety, again, I'm gonna show you how you can do that as well. You can divide it up by color. You can divide it up by shade. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. Like for example, the northern region, I may darken it up a little bit since it's a little colder up there. But still, that still does not separate a map because the fact is, you gotta still have your borders because, there are regions, that are or biomes that are cold or hot, whatever, biomes that cross over to other territories and other nations and stuff like that. So once this saved, I'll do this one last thing. I'm going to divide the nations up. That way, it still give me a good idea of what I want. You know, and pretty much, you have a good idea. Like we decided to design your own map. Let's see. I'll start hit the mic here. When you decide to do your own map, you'll be able to like get a good idea like how to start off. Now there are books out there that would teach you how to design maps, give you good advice. Again, I didn't do none of that. I just basically just started doing maps without doing any research. And I guess that's pretty much one of my past maps I have failed in the past. Yeah, excuse me here. But like I said, you live and you learn, and you try to do better. Again, like I said before, I still feel like I'm a neophyte at this because I pretty much don't. I'm really not a cartographer. I'm just a guy that has imagination, and basically that's what I'm doing right now. Is like I am using a little bit of the cartography skills that I have earned or have learned over the past year. But I'm basically just having fun, just like say, I'm gonna drop it right here. I'm pretty much got the Bob Ross effect. If it fits right there, just do it. That's how Bob Ross was with his paintings. So basically, like this is like almost this is painting. It's a canvas. It's a canvas. So do it. It's up to you. Do what you want to do. So let's do this. Let's add some nation lines here. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much say like say this whole region right here is a nation itself, right? So maybe we could do a border line. They have these here, right here. Now it's up to you what type of lines that you want to use. I'm gonna try to use a dotted line, and I'm gonna change the color to brown, like dark brown or black. Maybe black would work. And I'm going to just move the lines, just create the separation line. Now you're not able to see it. Now there's two things you can do. You can, in order to see the separation line, you can get rid of some of the assets, which is not a problem. I mean, pretty much like this is a time okay to like move stuff around. It's still going to have its effect. It's still going to be a region where it is separated, right? Say this is a separation line. Now, also what you can do is this too. You can also add weight to it as well, like the width. Add more depth to it. What else? You can you can take away the shadows, but you can add shadows. You can create intensities with the shadows and stuff like that to make it darker, lighter. Anyway, but you don't want to look too crazy. You want to give it purpose. Also, that's why a lot of times they have like geopolitical maps and stuff like that. So say that this is the kingdom right here. You can add another separation line here. Maybe just break it up. Let's do some more separation lines. Just to have fun here. And like I said, you can always change it around. Like just have fun at it. Say like this is another region. Just separate stuff. Just creating some division. Because you gotta have division of nations. Matter of fact, we can do this here. Who knows? Maybe you have a small nation right here. But like I said, I'm just breaking things up just enough. And you can always go back in and make change. I hope you can see that. I'm just creating lines here. And also, if you hear this fan, I do apologize. Like I said, I'm hot. You can also do this. Like I said, there's no, there's no perfect, borders and stuff like that. Maybe, maybe this is a nation over here, but we have one big fat nation over here. Maybe this is the largest nation there. Who knows? We have smaller kingdoms, like some nations exist across the water, like with borders and stuff like that. Just just yeah, just pizzazz it up. And here's the fun thing about it too. You can have 3 or 4 cities in different nations, like four, 3 or 4 cities. Because normally, like in fantasy maps or like old maps stuff like that, there are smaller cities within the borders and stuff like that. Of course, you have your capitals, capital city. You know, like for example, like you can just pretty much play around with it. You can throw, um, like I said, you could just do anything what you want. Now I kind of put something on the top here, so you won't be able to see that, but you can pretty much just break it up. Now what I'm doing is this. I'm going to change the icons later. I'm going to end the video. But the thing is, like I just want to show you this, like the techniques you can do. Like for example, like I can't see that, but say this is like a mesa, you know, a city right here. I mean, or a capital city. I'll add a couple of cities down here. Duplication and stuff like that. Just play around with it a little bit. Say there's a city out here. Like maybe this is like a bay, like what they call it, a bay city, like where ships go out. You can add another one here. Like I said, there are smaller nations. Like maybe you have a nation that, and mostly capitals. Think about this. Mostly capitals. Say if you design capital cities, most of them are within the heart of the territories. So let me do this real quick. I'm gonna change the contrast of this so I can make it see it, so I can be able to see it. I may drop a map. It needs a shadow. Like anytime you have maps like this, you don't want things to blend in too well. You do want to have shadows within the icon. Let me see something here. Now also, if you want, say that you don't how can I put this? Say that if you want, you can put color icons here to make it pop out a little bit more. I mean, like I said, it does have that. So let's do this. Let's add some intensity here, and I'm going to turn down the shadow blur. It's not perfect, but something that you can see. I'd rather for it to be blurry than for me not to be able to see it. Also, you can do an offset here. Change it back to 0. But like I said, I rather for the shadow to be blurry than not able to see it, which is fine. Let's say there's a city down below the there's a city down here. Like I said, play around with it. Um, yeah, like I said, I rather for it to be blurry than not to have a shadow at all. So again, let me play around with it again. I'm gonna increase the intensity. When you see a little dark spot will pop up here, or just cover the city. I'm gonna bring down the shadow. Like I said, I read it for it to be blurry. It looks a little bit blurry, but that's fine as long as I can see it. I know what's going on down here. That's fine. Like I said, also let's see how it looks with a color icon. Because sometimes, like you may want to cheat and say, "Up it." You know what? Let's go ahead and do a map. Um, do a Franken map. You add whatever you want to with the assets. So let's see what we got here. Okay, let's try regional. Like I said, like here are some color assets and stuff like that you may want to try. I probably wouldn't do that at the moment. All depends, But let me see if I can find an asset, and let's do some experimenting. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let's try this. No, we're not a Viking. I do want to make it make sense, some sense. It don't have to be too much sense, but we'll see. Let's just see if I can find some castles or something like that. Let's see this. Let's see how this looks. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not too concerned. Of course, I'm not stressing over it. But see, here's the problem. Due to this color, it's hard to see. But you can fix that. It's not a problem. Watch this. Again, you can always change the contrast and change the drop the blur or take down the contrast. Now, for maps like these, I do encourage you to like play around with the color, the hue. Sometimes like giving it a bright color. It basically like even though it might look a little weird, but if you can make it work, I do advise you to experiment. Like I said, this is a canvas. See how things work out for you. You remember your eyes go from dark to light. Light to dark. You can do this. Just make it make sense. I always like to choose dark color, dark icons, and I'll show you a reason why. Because like when I add the text, say if I say I call this Mesa City, right? You can't see that, but make sure the layers on top. Make sure it's number 1. As you see, it says Mesa City, right? Mesa City. I type it right here. Because I want to see. I want to see the lettering of the words and stuff like that. Also, like again, you can do this. You also can drop a shadow as well, but dropping the shadow can be distracting. Let me see. Hold on, no, I can't get that. Also, we have something called layer locking, but if you can't grab hold of your layer, also look at this. Look at the icon. You can type in your objects here. You can say Mesa City, right? Or there we go, Mesa City, right? So say if I want this, right, and I want to add a first I'm going to turn up the opacity, but I want to add a drop shadow. And the reason I want to add a drop shadow is just in case, like I can't see it well. I mean, I can see it fine. There's 2 things you can do. You can change the color. That's the drop shadow. I'm sorry, that's change the color, drop shadow. But you can change the color field. I'll do that in a minute. Kind of get ahead of myself. And let me see. And just sometimes like you can do this to make sure like you can see your work. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this down a bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna I always like to put the name over the city. Again, make sure you make sure you slide this up or down to make sure that you have your text on top of that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this down a bit, send it to the background, and I'm gonna get rid of this icon here. Okay, make sure you click it on first, then you move it. You're gonna move that right there. You just put that right there for a minute, off, But say this like, this is your city right here, Mesa City, right? Now, there's a lot of things you can do. Like, if you want the words to stand out, you can. I do advise you to change that. You can go light, you can go black, you can go white. But due to the nature of this map, it's kind of a little weird to try to see it. So normally I try to get a map, a color. I would use red. Give me 1 second. Red kind of works. You can see that. Which is pretty decent. I like that. So I'm gonna leave that there. Though, just option. Also, you can do this too. You can also curve your words. Make sure you do that. Also, you can change it here. change the style, to make sure you give it a boldness. But I'm gonna go. Let's see what calligraphy writing looks like if they have it. God, that's not the. No, you can do calligraphy writing. You can do Amarith. This is more like Amarante. I'm sorry. This is more like for medieval maps. Lucy, it's all about what your choices are. What you want. Again, you can also curve the text. They got the little curve button here. You can curve it. You know. Also, you can decrease. See, that's one thing I like about this too. Like you can decrease the size and it won't matter. And maybe down here you can be like, you can do another. You can always duplicate this, and say maybe you can say this is waterfall. Maybe lower upper Mesa City, lower Mesa City. I don't know. Maybe it has like two parts of the city. So nobody can say Mesa capital city. Give it a little bit more. Like I said, it's all about playing around with it. You know, see, and I kind of like that because I can see it. Now I know some people who are that might be what they call it purists. They lose their freaking minds over this. Red text on paper, but it is something. Like I said, if your eyes are funny, I'm sorry, if your eyes are funny, and you want people to be able to see the words, I do advise this. Like it sticks out a lot. Normally I would do black and white, but this was works for me. At the moment, and I just started it, so But here's what I'm gonna do. I want to create a couple more. I want to create a couple more capitals. Right now I'm just putting these as markers. I'm just putting these as markers. To pretty much I just want to put it as markers to maybe next time when I come back I will be able to go in and put some cities in here. I'm not really done with the map. As you see, the world is bigger than it is. I'm just basically just playing around with it and see where I can go with this. And pretty much like I said, I'm having fun with it. Always have fun with your work. Maybe throw some maybe I'll throw a couple of cities right here. This is the upper territories. Maybe I create a little bay. And that's what next time. Like I said before, you can always go back in and make things make it make sense. Like maybe you have a mount entrance, a river pass city, or you have a mount. Anything you want to do, you can do it. Again, like I said, have fun at it. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. Again, I do apologize for the technical difficulties I had earlier. I was supposed to came on 6:30, but I came on like 15 minutes later. But here I am. I'm glad that you were able to join in. If you enjoyed the video, click the like and subscribe. Also, make sure you visit my website. All the links are posted below. And I do thank you for coming on board. Thank you. I hope everything works well. And I do apologize for the